Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from skiessentials.com.
I'm Bob. How's it going?
Welcome back to our weekly Top 5 Friday ski industry news videos. Took a brief week off last week.
Yep.
Mostly Olympic coverage last week.
Yeah, I think most people watched it and knew what happened.
They didn't need us reminding them what happened.
Right.
Speaking of which, this first topic of the week,
Olympics.
Kind of Olympics.
Right.
Before we get into this actual topic, Olympics are all over. Did you enjoy it?
I did. I always like watching it. I mean, I like watching the full events. I don't get like Peacock or anything like that, so
Yep.
I have to watch what's on TV. But fortunately, we get Canadian broadcasting here in
Perfect.
Stowe,
Yep.
and their coverage is fantastic.
Sweet.
You get to see a whole new set of athletes too.
That's your advice to our audience?
If you have Canadian
Get
broadcasting,
Canadian
it's
TV.
great. Yeah, they do very good Olympic coverage.
Sweet. Yeah, I think all things considered, it was a pretty successful Olympic Games.
Yeah, I think so too.
But that brings us to the first topic of the week. We had an article from skiracing.com kind of highlighting the fact that it wasn't necessarily a successful Olympics for the U.S. alpine ski team.
One medal.
Yeah, so just one medal from Ryan Cochran-Siegel, which Bob and I were joking, really just kind of solidifies the fact that if you want to be good at ski racing, you should probably come from Vermont.
Something's got to go through Vermont.
Right.
To make.
You got to go to Burke or something.
Be a Cochran.
You either have the last name Cochran or go to Burke Mountain Academy if you want to be good at ski racing.
Yeah.
So, congratulations to Ryan Cochran-Siegel.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, it was essentially the worst showing for the U.S. ski team at an Olympic Games since 1988. Michaela Schifrin had 60% of her career DNFs just at this Olympics.
A crazy stat.
Which is an insane stat. Yeah. So apparently before this, she only DNF'd twice? Does that math?
I don't know. It seems like she wins everything she does.
Yeah.
Much less not even finish.
Well, and right, we all focus on her wins.
Right.
But that was crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's I don't even remember the stat, but Tiger Woods not missing a cut, his streak of tournaments where he didn't miss a cut is way more impressive than his total wins, but most people focus on the wins.
Right.
But it was just the consistency. So
yeah, and unfortunately they don't give, an Olympic medal for sustained excellence in a sport. It just comes down to that one run.
One run. So this article kind of was citing the lack of roster depth that the U.S. ski team sometimes has.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of feels to me just like in ebbs and flows, sort of. I wouldn't be surprised if in a few years we have a deeper team.
Yeah, but we've always had that one superstar that wins everything. You know, Bodie or Ted or Lindsay or Michaela. They just win everything.
Right.
And then there's no one that consistently gets sixth.
Right.
You never see two out of the top five finishers are Americans.
Totally. And yeah, when Michaela doesn't medal in anything, that's our current superstar.
Right.
So, kind of a bummer, but like I said, I think these things kind of ebb and flow.
No, I think you're right.
I think that who knows? Maybe this will inspire the next generation, and in 20 years we'll just be super strong as an alpine team.
Right.
Who knows? I think the other side of it that I don't think people forget about this, but I don't see it talked about as much in relation to things like this. It's part of the culture in Europe.
Yeah, and that's why Cochran's is successful, is because they've fostered that culture.
Right.
They had today on their Instagram had a video of them, they just set up basically a skier cross course for their young 6-year-olds.
Yeah.
And it looks super fun, and they're just creating that out of nothing, where you don't see bigger programs doing stuff like that. And part of it is because Cochran's owns that mountain.
They can do whatever they want.
Do whatever they want.
Yeah.
So there's freedom there.
Yeah.
Whereas I think a lot of these other clubs are more regimented, but.
Yeah, but it's you're more likely to be a basketball player in the United States than a ski racer.
Right.
Where that's not necessarily true in Europe.
Yeah.
You get a lot of ski racers. So
Yeah, a lot more like hometown hills.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it.
So, well, I hope that the U.S. ski team gets stronger. Just like speaking historically, I don't know that we'll ever like really match the depth of a European team, but who knows?
No, I think your culture aspect of it is right on.
And on to second topic of the week. This one's kind of funny. We call Top 5 Fridays ski industry news. Sometimes I feel like it's not really industry news, but this one feels specifically industry news to the point where like it probably doesn't matter to you guys. But kind of there's some questions surrounding trade shows in the industry right now, and specifically whether Outdoor Retailer will return to Salt Lake City. So basically, Outdoor Retailer as an organization, they had a 5-year contract with Denver that expired, and on top of that, COVID has really changed the industry and kind of the importance of trade shows. This year, Outdoor Retailer did not have much support from hard goods brands. I don't think like any went. A lot of them went to a different show called Winter Sports Market. A lot of us just don't go to trade shows. I haven't been to a trade show in 2 years. Granted, I don't do any of our buying or anything like that, but it's kind of interesting to just see like the natural evolution of like 3 years ago, trade shows were very important, or 2 years ago. It felt like, and it's such an important thing. And it's been 2 years now, and I'm still here.
Right.
And I haven't been to a trade show. So I think that raises a bigger question. Do we even need them?
Yeah, it seems to be following the trend of online shopping and sales. Like you can get all of that information online.
Right.
So if it's easier and you can do it at your own leisure, then why not?
Right.
Maybe it's one of those changes for the better. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like I've never been to one of those either. I have no interest in going as well.
And I as far as I'm concerned, or my take on this, my guess would be either Outdoor Retailer will return to Salt Lake, or it won't happen.
I mean, if that part of the business isn't making money, then that'll be that.
Right. So, time will tell. We'll keep you guys posted if we attend trade shows in the future. And then third topic of the week, kind of a bummer here, but we're learning more details about the damage that Sierra at Tahoe sustained from that Caldor forest fire.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. Now, we kind of covered that in Top 5 Fridays this past summer quite a bit. At first, it seemed like they maybe were getting out of it without too much damage, but the fire ultimately consumed 7 snowcats, a bunch of snowmobiles and snowblowers, damaged 5 out of 9 lift cables beyond repair, which really stood out to me. Like those cable, it's not like you can go down to your hardware store and buy a new cable for your Lightner Poma lift,
or just tape up the bad spots.
Right.
Like that's a real thing.
And installing a new cable is very labor intensive. Perhaps most importantly, roughly 80% of their vegetation was damaged.
Yeah, I thought that was the interesting part. And like,
totally.
Who's footing the bill for the cleanup, I think was one of the big ones. Like, you got to clean that stuff up.
Right.
Somehow, some way.
Yeah, but it's like kind of, there's no clear path of whose responsibility that is.
Right. What insurance costs, who they pay, who does the work, like all that stuff seems pretty up in the air.
Yep. So they kind of mentioned that, they have insurance on their equipment and their facilities.
Yeah.
But they aren't able to get insurance on land leased from the federal government. Right.
So the government's trees.
Right.
But you're leasing the trees, and you got to, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of the big question here, and kind of the underlying theme is that this will probably become somewhat of a blueprint for other resorts that operate on federal land.
Yeah, and hopefully they're not sustaining similar types of damage, but it's probably, if it happens one place, it could happen another.
Yeah, especially, I feel like we're having more frequent forest fires in recent years, so Kind of a bummer. I know they're still trying to open before the end of the season.
Yep.
Which, kudos to them. I feel like if it was me and I operated that resort, like at this point, I'd be like, nah, next year.
Well, make it a uphill only.
Yeah. No. Hopefully they can open, get some people on the slopes. It's an awesome place too.
Right.
Really, really cool place to ski. And then to finish, fourth topic of the week, we have 2 articles on the surge in popularity for human-powered skiing. Not really news.
No, we've seen it here, for sure.
Yep. Uphill skiing is more popular than ever before. So first, we have a Washington Post article written by Jen Rose Smith, telling the story of a 3-day trip on the Vermont Catamount Trail, which actually runs just. Am I pointing the right direction?
No, it's that way.
Yes, you're right. It actually just runs right over there. One of our coworkers, Dave, who sits through a couple walls that way, he's on it all the time, accessing backcountry terrain. So it was a story of a 37-mile tour over the course of 3 days. I think the whole trail is 300-something miles. I can't remember.
Yeah, it kind of mirrors the long trail, the hiking trail, but a little bit twistier.
Yep. My brother, big fan of the Catamount Trail. I think he's done most of it. But anyways, she kind of referenced the contrast of the quiet woods with the chaos of a busy ski resort.
I'd imagine it would be some type of experience having the Catamount Trail to yourself and then popping out kind of at the base of Stowe Mountain Resort and being like, where am I?
What is going on? So a pretty cool story. Check that out if you want to learn more about it. And then New York Times highlights that ski mountaineering is going to be in the 2026 Olympics. It's going to be really interesting. We've talked about that before on Top 5 Fridays, but yeah, I never would have thought that ski-mo would be an Olympic sport.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just obviously blurring between Nordic and downhill.
Yep.
And it just fits in there with being able to just be a complete skier and athlete, I think.
Every time I see the ski-mo style people at Stowe, I think to myself, I'll just go home and get my skate skis and I'll smoke you.
Right.
But that is not nearly as much fun because then you have to ski back down on skate skis, which is terrifying. But anyways, I thought these were kind of cool. Two cool highlights. Excuse me. And it kind of reminded me of growing up and cross-country skiing just straight out of my back door.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to grow up in kind of rural Maine and had tons of fields and trails to access, but those were such fond memories for me. And you're out there skiing, enjoying the winter. So, if you're sitting at home kind of bummed out about the crowds at ski resorts this season, maybe try and think outside the box. And
I mean, it's a different experience for sure.
Totally.
It's almost like a different activity altogether. That skiing and resort skiing are vastly different.
They are, but I think they're equally rewarding.
Yeah, you just can't go into one expecting the other.
No, there aren't any lodges if you're cross-country skiing.
Well, Trapp Family Lodge right here in Stowe is a wonderful Nordic center.
Well, and I was going to kind of say, you just have to kind of, be creative about it and think about your house as your lodge. And, have some hot chocolate and stuff like that. So I think we're going to continue to see that side of skiing grow, for sure.
Yeah, and I think still, people, average people don't know what, uphill skiing is. Skinning.
Totally.
I had to explain the whole thing, the whole segment, to my brother-in-law 2 nights ago. Yeah. He had no idea that people skinned up ski resorts and skied down. And so there's a big gap there. You know, it's my close relative and good friend, has no idea what it is.
Right.
And so there's a disconnect between.
And I think that gap will get smaller and smaller.
Totally.
And then lastly, we have our edits of the week. Lots of good edits this week. So first we have Red Bull Passage with Tatum Minode. Fantastic skier.
Yeah, cool story. Little biopic type movie.
17 minutes long. Traces her roots in the sport of skiing.
Yep.
Clearly she's got some strong roots in the sport of skiing. She's also a phenomenal skier. So check that out if you're interested in a little story. And then we have another kind of biopic again.
Yeah.
With Jimmy, the last of the the last of the great ski bums.
I couldn't help but think of our Benny.
Yeah.
At the boot shop.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know. There's a bunch of these kind of aging ski bums that have made skiing their career passion.
Should we do a video about Benny?
I think it would do great. Pop up on Top 5 Fridays.
Benny, the last of the Stowe ski bums.
Right.
Be hard to edit all the profanity out of it.
It's part of the flavor.
No, I'm just kidding. He would do a great job.
Yeah.
I think it'd be awesome. And then third edit of the week, Walker shreds wood ring. Just a little highlight edit on him. If you've never heard of Walker, he is a very young, up-and-coming free skier. Very, very talented.
Yep. Seems pretty accomplished already.
Yep. Yeah, and he's like very, very, very well connected to the ski industry, too, at a very young age. Usually when that happens, it means he's got a big career coming. And then we have the top 5 men's runs from Kings and Queens of Corbett's. And then lastly, this one's pretty unique. We have a behind-the-scenes video for Kung Fu, the video from the Olympic opening ceremony.
Yeah, it's fun. Fun watch.
Yeah, very well done.
Yeah.
And it was all done with like a GoPro and a gimbal on a stick.
Right.
Which is fun for us because that's like most of the time when we're filming, it's just a GoPro on the end of a stick, and I don't have the editing skills that they do, the After Effects animation editing skills. That would take me like a couple of years to produce the video that they did.
No, that was really well done.
Very, very cool. So check that out if you haven't seen it. And that's it for this week's Top 5 Fridays. USASA slopestyle this weekend on Sunday. Be out there coaching the GMA kids.
Nice.
You got anything exciting going on?
I do not.
No hockey?
No hockey. No sports. We'll probably just go skiing.
Oh, boo-hoo. Well, maybe you'll see Bob and I out there on the slopes if you happen to be at Stowe. Snowing pretty hard right now.
Yep. Another Friday snow day.
Yep, we had a great morning this morning. So we'll see you guys out there on the slopes, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye.